In today's video, I'm gonna share some tips and tricks with you on how you can gain confidence in front of the camera, but I'm also gonna give you some poses that you can utilize so that you always look your best in pictures. Let's start with the basics. When we are ready to have our picture taken, we usually just go like this automatically. We kind of don't know what to do with our hands, with our legs, with our posture in general. So we tend to just go flat and full frontal like this. Now this does not look good on camera. You look boring, you look awkward, you look like you don't know what to do. So the best thing in this situation would be to have a rule for yourself. Never do like a full frontal. Always do a little side thing. So by turning your body just slightly sideways towards the camera, this is going to create a more interesting look. Plus, it's actually more flattering for your body. Ladies or people in general who are plus size and feel uncomfortable kind of with the width of their body, this is actually a great pose for you because you are not emphasizing on the horizontal line of your body. Instead, you're kind of tilting it a bit, hiding that horizontal line, meaning that the focus is not how wide you are, but more so on other parts of the body. How much sideways though? Because we don't want to do this. We want to just do a little bit. Now there isn't a rule for how much. You can play a little bit by ear. Sometimes you can just move your hip slightly sideways. Sometimes you can include your shoulder sideways too. Sometimes you can actually do something more like this. It really depends on what you wear. Just remember, always a little bit sideways instead of full frontal. Then we need to talk about posture. And let's put it this way. Very few people have a perfect posture, including myself. And this is something we need to take into account whenever we pose in front of the camera, because the camera is really going to emphasize on your posture issues. So whether you have a little bit of slopey shoulders like I do, or let's say you have a hunchback, or I don't know, you have a tendency of pressing your hips forward, or I don't know, overbending your legs, you need to be really cautious of your posture issues. Meaning that when it's time to take that picture, you really straighten yourself up like a little ballerina that you are, making yourself really tall, rolling those shoulders back, pressing that bum in, and just really make an effort, like an extra effort to feel and look tall. This is going to help you correct your posture. And yes, you should feel slightly unnatural. Of course, don't overdo it. Don't feel like too unnatural. One trick that photographers tell you to do is to always lean slightly forward. A problem that some people do is that they're too much kind of leaning back, and that obviously does not look flattering on camera, and also actually just presses your hips forward, presses your thighs forward so you look a bit bigger than you actually are. Pushing your bottom a little bit out and leaning slightly forward, not too much, like you don't want to start doing something like this. More so just like a little touch, like We need to talk about your eyes. What do we do with our eyes? Do we just look like this? Do we look like this? Do we look like this, like this? There are so many ways how you can gaze into the camera. And of course, I do recommend that you do a little smize. Basically, open up your eyes a bit so that you are awake without being this. I'm gonna give you a little trick. Always look slightly above the camera instead of like straight into the lens, because that can sometimes be a bit too intense, and actually you might not translate really nicely inside the camera versus if you just gaze slightly on top of it. My personal hack that I'm gonna give you, the signature sideways. So whenever I take pictures, I always do both. I always look a little bit into the camera, but remember what I said, slightly above the camera lens. But then I also like to take a few variations where I just look a little bit on the side. Not on the side like this or like that, but really just slightly sideways. What is interesting, which I kind of don't know why this happens, is that if you think that you don't look good looking into the camera, then if you actually look slightly to the side, you will see how oftentimes you might look better. Don't ask me why, this is just magic of photography sometimes. And if you wonder, but Anna, which side? You pick and choose, find out which side works better for you. Now I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do in front of the camera with your mouth. We're talking now, what are you going to do with this beautiful, gorgeous smile of yours? Should you be pouting? Should you look serious? I suggest, ladies, that you try and smile as much as possible. If you don't want to show your teeth, that's fine. But try one of these 5 ways of how you can smile in front of the camera. First and foremost, we have the smize. So what is the smize? Well, the smize is when you just barely smile, but you just move these parts of your mouth just a tiny bit. And then you also smile a little bit with your eyes. So that's one. Number 2. Smile with closed lips. Number 3, smile with lips slightly opened. Number 4, a full natural smile. Number 5, which I would personally kind of tell you to be a little bit cautious with, because sometimes the face can look a little bit strange, a little bit too elastic. That is if you just go all in and do the biggest smile or laugh that you can. You see, not so flattering, but can maybe work for some. So which one of these 5 should you be utilizing? Well, it really depends on your face and what feels comfortable for you and what you look best in. So basically, try out a little bit at home, put that camera on the self-timer, and then just click away and do a little bit of test shooting alone when nobody sees you. That's actually going to give you a little bit of confidence in front of the camera versus when you have to try out everything yourself when somebody's taking photos of you in a public place with everybody watching. For the last time, I am holding a brand new workshop. It's called the Fabulous Future Formula, where I share the roadmap to leveling up and success. And I'm doing it for the last time, as I'm going to move on to other subjects in my trainings. So if you always wanted to learn leveling up with me and you wanted to take some of my free classes, but you never found the time, then now would be the last chance you will have this opportunity, because in the future this opportunity will not happen again. This workshop is free and you can gain access by going to fabulousfutureformula.com, but make sure you do it today, because soon this workshop is going to disappear. In my previous posing video, which by the way you have to watch after this video, I did talk a lot about what to do with your arms. But one rule, ladies, that you always have to do for yourself whenever it's time for you to pose in front of the camera, never just, do the hanging arms pose. And I'm gonna give you 5 places where you can place your arms. My favorite place is the hip, whether that is one arm or both arms. I also like to put them gently on my thighs, like this. There is a difference between this and just this. You can have your arms in the air, something like this, where you kind of just hold them slightly together. You can also place your hands in your hair. Same goes if you want to utilize your face. You might want to be careful with this pose where you're basically closing off your body. However, in some type of photography it can work. But let's say you're taking a group photo with your best friends, you don't want to stand like this. You just kind of look like you don't like anyone. Lastly, you can also put them in your pockets. We have spoken about that in previous video. I don't have pockets to demonstrate you on these pants, but you can just imagine that you can kind of look a little bit cool like this, standing, in your pockets. Next tip, ladies. Please remember this tip. Always suck your stomach in. And this is both for ladies, for men. Even if you have a bit of a flat stomach going on, it's not just for us with a bit of a belly. But truly, you will look, first of all, taller in the picture if you actually suck your stomach and really press your buttocks in. But keeping your stomach sucked in will create a nicer silhouette that will simply translate better in pictures. But what do we do with our feet? Now, feet can be tricky, and this is where I feel most people fail, because they kind of just stand like this. They don't really take the feet into account. And I personally believe in the front feet slightly forward, because it gives always an elongating effect, and it just looks very feminine, very nice, and you always know what to do with your feet. But there is a general rule that I want you to remember. Never do 50-50. We don't do 50-50 on this channel, so always put your weight at least on one foot a little bit more, which is where this trick of having your foot slightly in front comes handy in place, because you're putting all your weight pretty much, or most weight, on your back foot. So having an unequal weight distribution is really helpful because you create a bit of an S shape in your body, which tends to look quite nice on pictures. As a woman, we are blessed with beautiful curves and silhouette, and we want to show it on camera because it is flattering versus than just standing flat and straight like this. If you ever meet me in person and you're like, oh Anna, I want to take a selfie with you, feel free to walk up to me. I love meeting you ladies in person. But one thing you're going to notice if we take a picture together is that I will be doing this. Light, light, light. Where is the best light? And ladies, this is normal, and I actually think that you should be doing this too, because depending on how the light is in the picture, how it goes on you, it's obviously going to determine the quality of the image and how good you look. Rule number 1. Always find a source of light, ideally daylight. I don't personally like to take pictures at night because of the low light, but you can still have nice pictures with flash on. Try to have light coming from the front of you. So you want to be standing in front of a big window as an example. You can also be outdoors. Outdoors is a foolproof. Just be careful with sunlight because you want to have the sun going straight onto you pretty much. You don't want to have the sun coming from behind or from the side because that creates shadows. If you don't have natural light to work with, then of course you have to find where is the best artificial light. Be careful with certain ceiling lights. There are so many awful ceiling lights that will make you have all kinds of ugly shadows, and if you have a bit of wrinkles, that can emphasize wrinkles too. So something to really be cautious with. Then we need to speak a little bit about the composition. Should you be doing a close-up when you take pictures? Should you do half body, full body? What should you do? Well, it kind of depends. Are you maybe wearing a beautiful outfit that you want to show off? Are you maybe a tall lady, meaning that you will always look fabulous in a full body shot? Or are you maybe somebody, let's say, you're petite and you feel like, oh, it's a little bit risky for me to do full body because I oftentimes look a little bit on the shorter side in pictures. Or let's say you're not wearing nice shoes that day. Why would you want to showcase your shoes in the picture? So, of course, evaluate the situation according to that, whether you take full body, half body, or close-up. I personally have a set formula for those days when I don't want to risk it. I just take out my iPhone, I put portrait mode, and I just do half body. Half body portrait mode always comes out good. Never ever do portrait mode full body. You're gonna look really short and it's not gonna look natural. If you want to do full body shots, then make sure you do the regular camera mode. Make sure you watch my other video on posing straight after this video.